Team 3, you may put up a teamwork ticket. I see 4 binders out on 4 desks right there. I'm going to be using this chart right here, this easel, for writing today. So if you sit in Team 4 or Team 5, I would love for you to come have a seat on the floor right here. Everybody else, I think, can see the chart, right? All right, we've talked a lot about active listening lately. If your back is to the chart, can you kind of flip your chair around, turn your chair around so that you can see? If you're sitting at your desk, I would love to see your hands on top of your desk, feet on the floor. Are we ready? All right, in writing today, if we look at our writing objective, our objective is to be able to identify the 3 segments of Writer's Workshop. Raise your hand if you've heard of Writer's Workshop before. Writer's Workshop, okay? I think all of you have experienced Writer's Workshop before. It may look a little bit different in Room 23 and in 4th grade, so that's what we're going to talk about today. There are 3 segments or 3 portions, 3 chunks of Writer's Workshop, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And then you're going to have a chance to even practice. So Writer's Workshop. Some of this may sound familiar to you, and some of it may be brand new. The first part of our Writer's Workshop is called the mini lesson. Does that sound familiar to you?
Yes.
Have you heard about that before?
Mm-hmm.
The mini lesson. So I'm going to write that down as number 1, the mini lesson. I'm going to consider this my mini lesson today. During the mini lesson, what do you think the teacher's doing during a mini lesson? Teacher's doing what? Baker?
They are teaching a lesson.
They're teaching a lesson. Sometimes they might be introducing a new skill or a new writing strategy. And other times we just might be reviewing something that you've already learned before. And maybe we need a little more practice with that. So during the mini lesson, the teacher is teaching. What do you think the students are doing? Or should be doing, should I say, during the mini lesson? Jackson, what are the students? Sitting, okay. And in room 23, sometimes that means sitting at your desk.
I said listening.
Oh, did you say listening? I'm sorry, I thought you said sitting. Sitting, and I'm glad you said listening. What kind of listening should you be doing? Active listening. We made a list the other day of things that we should be doing as active listeners. So during the mini lesson, you want to keep in mind all of those things we added to our list. So you're sitting and active listening. Love it. Sometimes you're going to be participating, right, when that's appropriate. The mini lesson takes approximately 10 to 15 minutes a day. So I'm going to add our time, 10 to 15 minutes. It's pretty short. That's why it's called what? A mini lesson. It's pretty short. Sometimes you're going to be seated at your desks, and other times I'll ask you to come up and have a seat on the floor. And eventually you'll have kind of your spot on the floor to sit. We haven't established that yet. But whenever we're using a smartboard or I need you to sit up right on the floor, you will sit in the same spot each time. Okay? The other thing I want to tell you and remind you is whenever we are ready for writing each day, what material do I need you to have out? We've kind of already talked about this. Brayden? Your binders. So you will have your binders out. The second part of Writer's Workshop is independent writing. What does the word independent mean? You can tell us in your own words what the word independent means. Jillian?
Independent means like you're yourself. No one is telling you what to write.
Yeah.
And
So this is your student writing time. And there is a kind of a catchphrase that I use when it's time for you, for us to transition from the mini lesson to your independent writing time. And this may be a catchphrase that your teacher used last year, and maybe your teacher last year used a different phrase. It's called have a go. Repeat after me. Have a go.
have a go.
Have a go. So when I'm done with the mini lesson, I'll say, all right, it's time for you to have a go. And you're going to know exactly what to do at that time because we're getting ready to talk about that right now. So we've already established that you'll have your binder out. Sometimes you might be writing on loose leaf paper. That's why we have loose leaf paper in your binder. Right, Andrew? That's why we set up loose leaf paper in your binder. Sometimes I might have a sheet that you're supposed to be using for writing. You'll know because we'll talk about that when? During the mini lesson. So I'm going to write my catchphrase right here, and we're going to be practicing that when I'm done with the mini lesson today. Okay? So we've already established that students are writing during this time, and I'm going to say thinking or writing, but they are definitely on task, right?
Yeah.
I would hope so anyway. What do you think the teacher's doing during independent writing time? Jethro, what do you think the teacher might be doing during this time? Checking homework? Not quite. Not during the independent writing time. It's a good guess, though. Carson?
Walking around and seeing if people need help.
Okay. So circulating, giving maybe feedback to writers that are working independently. Sometimes the teacher might be conferencing, and sometimes I might be calling people over to me. So the teacher is either walking around the room, might be looking over your shoulder to see how it's going, might be giving you some suggestions, I might be asking you to share your favorite part with me. So the teacher is either circulating or conferencing with students about their writing. We are also going to talk about where you should be writing independently. And in room 23, I give you some choice here, as long as you can handle it. As long as you can prove that I can trust you. So some people like to just stay at their desk and write. So where they work best, they've got a flat surface. It's where they're successful. And other people like to get up and maybe find a writing spot in the classroom. Maybe they want to sit on the floor with their back against the wall. Or maybe they want to go over to the counter just for kind of a change of pace, a change of scenery. The important part here, if you're making a choice to go somewhere else in the classroom, is that you're not someplace that's going to bother other people or where other people might bother you. Because then you might accidentally slip out of your thinking and writing mode. And we need to be doing that the entire time. Yes?
We can go to a spot like where there's only like one person able to sit in it because many people like to sit in it.
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Maybe back there on like those chairs.
Well, we're going to make smart choices, and today when we practice, we might have to practice a little bit about that. I wouldn't want like 6 people sitting back on the ledge there. That would not be a smart choice, would it? Okay? So this is the longest period of our writer's workshop, and we're going to be independently writing for about 20 to 25 minutes. Sometimes during independent writing, I'll even put on some music. Sometimes music, just instrumental music, can help you be creative with your thoughts. Okay? We'll try that. The third part, how many parts are there to Writer's Workshop? 3. If I were to cover this up, close your eyes for a minute. Who could name the first part of Writer's Workshop so far? Olivia Baker. The mini lesson. And the second part of Writer's Workshop, Jethro.
Independent
Independent writing. Excellent. Okay, open up those eyes. We have our final part of Writer's Workshop, and that is called share time. Share time is about 5 minutes. It's pretty short, okay? And this is a time where if someone has been called to share what they were working on during independent writing time, what would the rest of us need to be doing during that time? Shelby?
Active listening.
Active listening. So we're going to be a respectful audience. I also wanted to teach you a catchphrase that when we're done with independent writing and it's time for share time, I'm going to say, wrap it up. Repeat after me, wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
And when I say wrap it up, that doesn't mean to keep writing for 5 more minutes. Okay? You got to wrap it up, and you got to wrap it up then, and you need to transition back to your seat if you're not already there. Put your things away unless you've been asked to share, and be ready to be a respectful audience and actively listen. So students, actively listen. I'm going to put respectful audience. And active listening. Now there's something else very important that I hope we can begin and even get better at as the year goes on. And that is when someone shares, and when they're finished sharing, what do you think you could offer them? What do you think you could offer them, Ethan?
An
Applause? That would be very nice, wouldn't it? I'm talking about with your words. Do you have any ideas that you could offer someone when they're finished sharing their writing? Audrey?
Feedback.
Feedback. And you know what kind of feedback I appreciate more than anything? Specific feedback. What do I mean by that? What is specific feedback? Alex?
Details about those small moments that they wrote about.
Okay. So is this specific feedback? If Alex, you were sharing, I said, I really liked your writing.
No.
That's not specific. It's a compliment. It's very nice. But what would be something that is much more specific than that? Caitlin? And I know she's not really sharing, so we're kind of making this up right now. Okay, so did you say maybe a suggestion that they might have added to make their writing even better? So sometimes specific feedback can be a suggestion for them to make their writing even better. What else would be an example of specific feedback, Emma?
Maybe like you could say you did a really good job, but maybe I think so.
Another suggestion. Okay, so we've got suggestions. Might be a respectful suggestion to make it even better. What else? What else? Lucas.
You could tell them, I really like this part of your story.
Right. Be specific, right? That was an awesome hook. When you read that first part, your hook, I couldn't wait to hear what you said next. Would that be specific feedback?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so we can give them specific praise or compliments. Okay? Like I said, our share time is only 5 minutes. Now, you might be wondering, who shares? Who's going to share? How are you going to know if I want you to share or not? Emma talked about that. In room 23, we have these little share cones right here. And during independent writing time, when I'm circulating or maybe conferencing with someone, depending upon what our mini lesson topic was, let's say it happened to be writing a good hook and trying to hook your reader. What am I going to probably be looking for as you're independently writing? Students that are really doing a good job with that, right? And if you get a share cone on your desk like this, keep on writing. but you know that at the end, I'm going to ask you to share. And I have 3 cones, so usually I'm looking for at least 3 people to share. They're going to step up to the Elmo projector. We're going to put their writing up here, and I'm going to hand the microphone over to them so that they can read and be heard. Sometimes I'll have you read the whole thing, but usually I'll just have you read the part that was covered during the mini lesson. Make sense? Are you ready to practice?
Mm-hmm.
Who can name all 3 parts of our writer's workshop? Nicholas.
Mini lesson, independent writing, and sharing.
And share time. Today, my mini lesson was teaching you about writer's workshop. We're going to practice, and in just a moment, I'm going to ask you to go back to your binders. I'm going to ask you to look at your me poster, where you jotted down some ideas and some things that you like or love or are really excited about, hobbies or whatever. And you're going to choose one topic on your me poster that you can write about. How long are you going to be writing? Blessing.
20 to 25 minutes.
Usually 20 to 25 minutes. Today, since this is our first day and my mini lesson was a little more than mini, probably about 10 minutes. Maybe 15. We'll see how it goes, okay? I am going to be circulating, and today I'm going to be looking for students who are staying on task, who are adding details to their writing, and who might be entertaining for others to read. Okay? We're going to make good choices. If you don't stay at your seat, you're not going to be right next to your buddy. Okay? I'm ready for you to have a go.